Hi, good evening everyone.
Magandang
So yan,
gabi.
yes, good evening. Live na naman tayo dito sa Now Talks. So, syempre bago yan, I'm your host tonight. So I'm Jean and I also have here with me.
Hi guys, I'm Jam.
Hello, Bettina. So,
Yes. Wow, kompletong pangalan ah.
ay oo nga.
Proud. Anyway, sige. Start na tayo sa Now Talks. Ay, by the way, bago pala tayo mag-start, syempre, lahat naman ng natin, ng live natin, pasalamatan muna natin ulit yung mga sponsors natin tonight.
Yes.
Yes. Guys, this event is made possible with the help of our partners tonight, Journos, Campus Journalism Facebook Group, The Innovator, the official media organization of FEU Tech, Pinas 360, Lakbay ba? Pinas muna.
Yes!
Natural na natural ah.
Sip for stories that blend with your cup of coffee. Minsan okay lang matraffic at Imbornal Journal ng ating now founders na sina Charina at Jerome. So guys,
Yes.
don't forget to like their social media pages ha. Tsaka may mga Facebook groups din sila. Don't forget to join.
Oo nga, kanina lang
Facebook
kaka-virtual book launch lang ni Jerome sa
Oo.
kanyang bagong
Congratulations.
newly published
Congrats,
book.
Jerome.
Yes, congrats
Kay
Jerome
Jerome
Bitug.
at saka kay Lloyd Zapanta.
Yes, oo,
Tama
si
ba?
Lloyd.
Zapanta ba?
Yes, Zapanta.
Okay,
meron pa,
tapos,
Bettina. Sino pa papasalamatan
Oo,
natin?
meron din tayong mga small business partners, ang Bongga Bags and Clothing. They offer bags and clothes that will burst the royalty in you. Like niyo sila sa Bongga Bags PH sa Facebook para Bongga Kaday. At Martinez
Yes!
Crib, ang Martinez Crib din, the
Bago yun
one-stop shop. Then, halagay talaga. At ang Martinez Crib, the one-stop shop for all your baby feeds. Visit their Facebook page at nasa Shopee din sila. Tapos kung gusto nyong makausap yung seller, Desiree Hidalgo Antang ang pangalan niya. Yan,
Oo,
sa
kaya PM
Facebook.
nyo yung Facebook page na Martinez Crib.
Oo.
Martinez
Nasa Facebook
Crib.
sila.
So, yeah.
Nasa Instagram, nasa lahat ng platform.
Oo, may Shopee, di ba? Anyway,
Oo,
yung
Shopee.
let's proceed dun sa natin, sa topic natin tonight. So, our episode for tonight is about news writing tips and tricks. Tanungin ko nga kayo, Jam and Bettina, ano yung usually na nagiging problema nyo or yung usual na lagi parang nagkakamali kayo when it comes to pag nagsusulat kayo ng news?
Ako, siguro madalas, kung hindi sa spelling, sa figures. Kasi di ba madalas talaga magkamali sa figures.
Mm-mm.
Mahirap kasi yun eh. Tapos, siguro, yung mga detalye. Yung mga siguro kahit mga minor lang. Kasi di ba bawal magkamali kahit minor lang yan. Kahit isang letter lang yan. Isang maling gamit lang ng word. Mga ganun. Hindi siya maiiwasan. Pero good thing ngayon, pwede ka nang mag-edit.
Oo,
Pwede
pero
mo
lalo
nang
na lalo na yung sa pangalan, 'di ba? For example, ibang pangalan yung nagamit mo. Hindi naman pala
Oo.
talaga siya yung, for example, secretary dito sa ganitong
Oo.
department, hindi naman pala siya 'yon.
At saka
Ikaw,
yung suspect,
Jam?
tsaka yung
Ay,
victim,
sorry, go ahead.
diba? Oo, yung suspect tsaka victim, mamaya yung victim ginawa mong suspect o kaya yung police ginawa mong suspect, ganyan.
So ito yung mga problems na hindi nyo siguro na-encounter pero madalas na nakikita or napapansin. Ganun ba? Okay. Ikaw, Jam?
Sa akin siguro yung problem, more on yung paghahabol sa mga sources. Kasi syempre kapag nagsusulat ka ng news, wala ka namang buong araw para gawin yun, may deadline. So, yun yung pinaka-challenging part ng pagsusulat ng news. Kasi once nakuha mo naman yung details, kailangan lang i-double check mo lahat, make sure na tama yung details na nalagay mo para maiwasan yung mga sinabi nila. Pero mahirap talaga yung paghahabol sa sources. Yun yung pinaka
lalo pag di nagre-reply, no? Pag di nagre-reply, di sumasagot sa tawag, ayaw magpapunta sa office, no?
Oo. Yung pinagpapasapasahan yung mahirap.
Kailangan kulitin mo no? Para makuha mo yung side nila, di ba? For
kailangan
their own,
likas kang makulit.
Benefit. Okay.
Kailangan hindi ka agad sinusuko.
Sa akin naman siguro ganun din,
Jean?
mga typo. Madalas typo talaga. Pero buti na lang pag online, pwede mo kasing i-edit, 'di ba? For example, nagkabaliktad yung yung P tsaka yung O, 'di ba? Mga ganyan, madalas talaga 'yan eh. Tsaka pag kasi online, hindi mo siya yung parang nasi-skip mo na, nagiging subjective reader ka kapag sa sa online. So yun yung mga
True.
common problems siguro na na-encounter ko. Sige,
Madami pang problema.
marami pa. Kaya meron
Oo.
tayong papakilala tonight na ano naman, ito talaga yung forte niya, news writing. Pero bago
Yes.
yun, meron ka ipapakilala, di ba, Jam?
Oo, may bukod sa ating guest speaker tonight na magsasalita tungkol sa news writing, may isa pa tayong makakasama. Kasi nagtanong tayo sa ating Facebook group, yung Now You, Ikaw Naman Facebook group natin. Nagtanong tayo doon kung meron bang gustong sumama sa live discussion natin ngayon para magkaroon ng chance na magtanong sa ating guest speaker.
Yes.
Ayan.
Kaya ano
Sino
talaga
kaya
eh.
to?
Kaya ano talaga eh, advantage talaga nakasama sila sa Now You, Ikaw Naman Facebook
Tama.
group.
Oo.
Kasi
Oo
at
nga.
least magkakaroon ka ng parang one-on-one discussion dito sa live session natin. Kasama yung ating mga speakers. Hindi lang ngayon ha, kasi marami pa tayong susunod na online campus journalism training. So umpisa pa lang tong news
Umpisa pa
writing,
lang.
meron na agad na gustong sumama. Actually, dalawa sila, kaya lang yung isa medyo may problema sa signal. So unfortunately, isa lang muna yung makakasama natin. Sige, welcome muna nga, Jam.
Oo, papakilala ko na yung participant natin, yung unang participant natin para sa ating live. Active member siya ng school paper simula pa nung junior high school siya. Ngayon, second year college na siya, civil engineering student siya. Pero passion talaga niya ang pagsusulat. Kaya kino-continue niya pa rin sa pamamagitan ng kanilang school paper. Junior writer siya ngayon sa The Innovator. So guys, let's welcome Princess Perez.
Yes. Hi, Princess.
Ayan.
Hello,
Hi,
Hello po,
Princess.
good evening. Hello po.
Yes. Hi, Princess.
Good evening po sa viewers natin tonight.
Yes. Si Princess ay taga-FEU Tech, the member or contributor and writer ng The Innovator, di ba? The official news organization ng FEU. Media organization ng FEU Tech. So, yan. After ni Princess, meron pa tayo. Ito na talaga, totoo na to, yung special guest natin.
Buti hindi to busy, no?
Oo nga eh.
Buti na pauna
Hirap habulin nito eh.
Oo. Parang source to eh. Parang source, mahirap pagilapin. Papakilala na ba
Tumatawa
natin?
na siya sa backstage.
Papakilala na ba?
Oo,
Pakilala mo na.
Baka iwan
Okay,
tayo.
Itong guest speaker natin ngayon ay fellow reporter ko sa Manila Bulletin. Siya ang current beat reporter ng MB for MMDA, for Makati LGU and Police. Ito, nagsimula siya bilang isang crime reporter at kung ang pinaka most notable na story niya ay yung story ni Kian. Siguro marami sa inyo nakakaalam. Isa siya sa mga pinakabatang biktima ng war on drugs. At isa rin siya sa mga naglabas ng story ni Rain, isa sa mga biktima isa rin siyang isang batang may malubhang karamdaman. So, itong speaker natin, naging daan siya para madugtungan yung buhay ni Rain. So, at madalas din itong maimbitahan sa mga campus journalism workshops. At yun nga, sabi ko, notorious ito sa mga sources. At malalaman natin kung bakit siya notorious sa mga sources. Let's welcome the Jel Santos.
Yes, the Jel Santos from Manila Bulletin.
Oo, may Dayanada.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Yes, seryoso.
Magandang gabi.
Magandang gabi. Kanina pa yan naghihintay si Jel.
Oo, mga
So,
5
yun.
p.m. pa, no?
Ready ka na ba, Jel? Start na natin. By the way, if you have any questions, you can post your questions on the comments. Tapos babasahin namin yan later o kaya habang pag natakal ni Jel, pwede rin naman naming i-discuss or Ha? Okay,
Handa siyang
so
sumagot.
i-ready ko na yung ni Jel.
Presentation.
Start na.
So guys, good evening again. This is News Writing 101. So, next slide, Jean, para makita nila. Jean? Okay.
Yan, inaayos ni Gina yung PowerPoint.
So, first slide natin, when it comes to news writing, you should always remember this about news writing. Next. Jean, next.
Ayan.
Whenever magsusulat kayo ng balita, you should always remember this. A dog biting a man is not news, but a man biting a dog is news. Bakit ang isang taong kinagat ng aso ay hindi balita? Because this is so plain and simple. Hindi siya newsworthy because it happens every time. It's so usual. And if you're going to see or witness a man biting a dog, that's news. Kasi hindi lahat ng bagay pwede mong ibalita. You should always look for something to highlight, something interesting for your readers. There was a cop before in in Navotas when I was still a rookie reporter. This cop asked me why do journalists always highlight things or killings? Why do we always highlight those things, negative things? Ang sabi niya sa akin. Well, I told him that you cannot write something that will bore your readers. The public is interested with what's happening around them. And it is the responsibility of a journalist to inform the public about what's happening around them. You should always look for something that will make your readers curious, that will make your readers want for more. Hindi ka pwedeng you can't just write for something na okay, the public went to work on Monday. That's usual. Or a kid was walking. You should always try to find something peculiar that will that your reader will be interested. Hindi ka pwedeng magsulat na lang ng walang 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 magkakaroon ng interes. Dapat you should always take into consideration your reader. The reader is king. When writing, the reader is king. You should always inform them of what is happening sa society natin. Next slide, Jean. So yeah, okay, this slide was not. Next slide. I did not update this one. So timeliness. Information has timeliness if it happened recently. So kailangan mong laging i-discuss timely kung ano nangyayari sa kalukuyang panahon sa society natin. It should be timely. Hindi dapat late ang pagre-report mo. Second is prominence. You should report about people who are prominent, like the Pope, the President, or the PNP chief. Those are prominent personalities in our country. That's why nire-report sila. The third one is proximity. Information has proximity if involves something happens somewhere nearby. So, ito yung scope mo na magkakaroon ng interest ang readers mo na basahin. Because, they could relate eh. For example, if you're living in the Philippines, you can relate more on local issues than of international issues because it affects you directly. That's why proximity is very important to news writing. The fourth one is conflict. The fourth one is conflict. Some kind of disagreement between two or more people or nature. So, for example, the rallies against the policemen, or the or a corporation against their workers. For example, there's a lawsuit. You're going to write about that because there's conflict. People will always have interest sa mga bagay na may conflict. That's why you should write about it. The fifth na ba to? The fifth one is weirdness or oddity. You should write for something peculiar, something unusual, something that your readers will crave for, something that your reader will want to read. Because, oh my God, this is so what? For example, umulan ng dugo, or there was this talking chicken. These are odd things na, these are very unusual. You don't see them every day. You don't witness something like that. If it is unusual, it is newsworthy. You should, your readers will love to read it, will have to learn about it. That's why you should put all the necessary details. We'll get on that later. And then the currency. If it is related to someone, to some general topic a lot of people are already talking about. So dapat current ang balita mo. Hindi kasi dapat hindi siya stale. Kailangan laging bago. That's why you should have many sources, or you should always read the news. You should always read, keep on reading. Because the secret in news writing is that you don't stop reading things. You always learn, or you look for a newsworthy topic sa mga bagay na nababasa mo. Maybe you could get the reaction of the governor about this issue, about this locality, or you could get the reaction of the mayor about what's happening, the COVID-19 crisis in their, for example, your city, maraming masyadong COVID cases. And then there are issues about how the governor or how the mayor handled things. Those are current issues, because COVID-19 is a pandemic that we are facing right now. That's why it is very important to always read what's happening around you, you could so that you could come up with a new story, with a new article, with a new topic that your readers will love to read. Hindi yung, not the things na sasakay ka lang sa mga old issues, or you're going to look for something na very very sensational lang. Next slide. Next slide, Jean. The Inquirer in Education describes news as news, the true to life stories from around the community, the country, and the world, collected and published by a newspaper. Next slide. Next slide, Jean. So the key parts of a news report, your headline. Your headline must summarize what is in your lead. Kung ano ang story mo. Subject, verb. Ang yung verb when it comes to headline, always nasa present tense. Ang yung lead, your lead must contain who, what, where, when, why, and how. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. The next one is that you should have your body. Of course, your body is important. The supporting details, the quotes, the reactions about this issue, about this topic that you are writing about, it should contain those. And you could also put some researches, some related studies about this. For example, you're writing about COVID-19. You could put daan sa body mo kung saan nag-originate ang COVID-19. Like in Wuhan, China, you could put that. And then what are the, do we have a vaccine now? You could also put that sa body mo. Always research about the things na sinusulat mo. Kasi this is very vital for a reporter. When you are writing, always check related stories about this. Or if you are writing about a very prominent personality, of course you're going to check their background. Maybe it is related to what happened to them before. That's why very maingay na naman ang pangalan nila. Those are the things that you should always check because it can be related to your story and you could add that. Just cite your sources well, syempre. You should cite in case hindi ka sumulat ng article na yon. Next slide. So the next slide is stages in writing. The first one is to always develop your nose for news. Always develop this. This is very important for a writer to have the nose for news. For example, your editor told you to go to an event or to an unveiling. And then something came up. Supposedly, meron dapat event. And then, walang nangyaring event. You went there, pero wala naman. You kept on asking the people, bakit may event po ba dito? If that ever happens to you, what you should do is that, hindi porket walang nangyaring event na inutos sa'yo, ay wala ng story. Magiging story mo is that, hindi naganap yung event na yun, kung bakit hindi nangyari yung event na yun. Because there's always a story behind something. Sa, for example na lang, sa communication process, kapag tumahimik ka, you're already sending a story to another person. You are already sending a message to another person. So, parang ganun lang din. Kapag there are these things na parang unusual, very unusual na there should be an event on this day and yet walang nangyari. Yun ang story mo. And then you try to ask people or your sources kung bakit walang nangyaring ganito when it is scheduled to happen on this day. The second one is to collect information, gather data from all the sources like research including interview. Tulad nga ng sabi ko kanina, mahalaga to collect information and to research. Always research. I-add mo yan. This is to beef up your article. Kailangan mong mapasustansya yung article na sinusulat mo. Always collect information na relevant to the topic that you were writing. When it comes to gathering information, you always look for sources na very credible sources that could validate an incident or could explain what happened or transpired. For example, during a rally, during a gathering or during a very momentous event. Always collect relevant information and always double check your sources. Because sometimes, this I'm speaking based on experience, sometimes some people will tend to mislead you because they have an agenda. Of course, what you should have to do is that you double check. You ask other people, especially when your guts say na may something wrong with this information that was given to me. This is wrong. This is very important because there was an incident before that there was this guy. He contacted me and then he told me that during a fight with the policeman, he was claiming that the policeman fired at them and they're bringing mga maraming baril daw. Tapos when I was trying to verify, he was so defensive. Apparently, he was lying. Because, I talked to some friends na nakatira doon sa area kung saan nangyari. They did not hear any totoo na nangyaring ganun. It is very important to check, to always verify the information being fed to you. Because some people just really they really want to, they just really want to destabilize or destroy the image of a person or an organization. They have usually may hidden agenda talaga sila eh. That's why double checking or cross checking information, it is very vital in news writing. You cannot just write. You should check. Fact checking is very important to news writers. Ako, what I do minsan, napapatagal ako kasi I fact check things eh. The data, I check if it adds up. Kasi minsan yung data, sabi ko, when I add this, parang hindi naman ganito yung figure. Apparently, I was right. according to this source, ano daw, what they did sa kanilang press release, the writer daw left out this detail. So you see, when you fact check, kasi di mo yung nasa byline eh. Tapos, pag may nakakita nun, parang, there's a discrepancy on the data given by this reporter na parang di man lang chinek. So it's very important to check the data, especially when it comes to money or when it comes to projects of the government, of the LGUs. It's very important. Always, always, always double check, cross check. Data analysis lang naman yun. Very simple. The third one is organizing your story. Pre-writing and writing process. Siyempre, i-organize mo yung thought mo. The inverted pyramid. Mag-uumpisa ka sa most relevant details, pinaka-importanting detalye, down sa mga supporting details na lang. Laging iuna mo kung ano ang issue, kung ano ang gusto mong i-highlight, kung anong angle ang gusto mong pupuntahan. Always remember that you are writing for the public, for your readers, and not for any government institution or not for anyone. If you're writing for the public, kasi we journalists are here for the public to inform them always of what's happening in our country. If it's the other way around, na you're writing in behalf of that's public relation already. Magkaibang topic ang public relation to news writing. News writing is always para sa tao. Ang public relation is for an individual or a corporation or the government. Those are two different things. PR and news writing. News writing, wala kang interest na nilalatan. Wala kang agenda. Ang public relation, you have an agenda. You're pushing for something. Your angle must always for the people. What will interest the people? What will the people say? What will the people do? Dapat lagi mo i-consider yon when writing and organizing your writing and writing. The fourth thing is that editing your work. There was a study before. There was a study na after mong isulat ang article mo, you rest for 5 minutes. Mag-chit-chat ka muna sa mga kaibigan mo. After mong masulat yan, for you kasi, when you read it, na nakatutok ka sa laptop mo, akala mo, tama na lahat, nag-auto-correct yan. You know, the human brain, nag-auto-correct yan. Kapag binabasa mo yan, nakikita mo, akala mo walang mali. Just rest for 5 minutes, talk to someone, eat something, or call your boyfriend or girlfriend. And then, after a few minutes, balikan mo yun, you read it. Oh my God, there's so many misspellings, inconsistent data. There are this grammatical errors. This is writing process na you don't just write it and then you send it immediately to your editor. Of course, you are trying to beat the deadline, pero this is very important. 5 minutes lang naman, you rest, because your eyes they tend to autocorrect. May study about that. That's why it is important na ipahinga mo lang yung mata mo. Don't send it yet to your editor, and then after 5 minutes you read it again. And this is a very good tip that I learned from one of my professors, which is very helpful sa akin. And then I think it will be very helpful to you too. And then, so fifth process natin is submission of your work. After checking, of course, after checking your work, your grammar, your punctuations, your prepositions. After checking everything, you submit your work. Of course, after submission, hindi pa yan lalabas, or you're not sure na lalabas yan. Kasi sixth part is approval of editor and proofreading. So, kailangan mo na i-approve yan ng editor mo. Kasi this is the process talaga. Kung maganda yung story mo, immediately, ilalabas siya sa online, be it may online or print, ilalabas siya ng editor mo. They will push for it, especially kapag and it is an exclusive. Hindi, it's not you're hired and then magsusulat ka ng something and then ipapasa mo. Hindi, it does not work like that way. Ang mangyayari is your editor will check pa kung worthy ba talaga yung pinasa mo. That's why it's very important to have the news for news, and it is very important for you to have the right angle. That will, parang, this will, when the editor sees it, oh my God, this is going viral the next day, or this is going viral after mo publish a website. So these are the things that you should consider. And then seven is actual printing. This is for printing talaga. So actual printing. The seventh one is actual printing. So ayun, after na ma-okay ng editor mo, and then proofread na siya, syempre yung mga typos na very very minimal lang naman din, is mapapublish ng work mo. Jean, next slide. Jean, next slide. Next slide. Next slide, Jean. So this is the inverted pyramid. So ang nasa itaas lagi is the most newsworthy information, who, what, where, when, why, how. Pero when writing it does not mean na lahat ng 5 W's and an H nandiyan sa itaas. Nasa first paragraph. No, it does not mean that. Pwede siya nasa first yung iba, nasa second yung iba. Hindi mo kailangan isiksik dyan sa itaas lahat. Remember that hindi mo kailangan isiksik lahat ng 5 W's at isang H yan sa itaas ng iyong lead. Ang importante is that you learn how to write it na hindi mukhang awkward or very stuffy yung sinusulat mong lead. Siyempre, pag nagsusulat ka ng lead, dapat laging nandiyan yung mga importanteng detalye niyan. Pero it does not mean isasaksak mo lahat sa first paragraph. Pwede mo yung ibaba. Pwede mo yung baba dun sa second paragraph. Tapos the next one is important details about for example, about an incident, about the fire incident, stabbing incident. Ilagay mo yung important details dun. Kung saan nag-transpire, kung anong oras nangyari, ilagay mo yung exact location, ilagay mo doon. Kasi usually naman kapag news writing about you, if you're writing about crime, ang ilalagay mo doon sa taas is the city lang. For example, it happened in Makati City. Hindi mo ilalagay na, along Siri Mundo Street in Barangay Beller, ganyan. You don't put everything dun sa taas. You don't put yung word dito, hindi ibig sabihin yun. You should learn to disperse the information. Na hindi awkward na babasahin mo lahat na andun yung barangay dun sa first paragraph. And that's awful. It looks bad. So, learn na matuto kang paano mo ilalagay. Pero usually, that's the common. Mag-ano ka muna kung saang city nangyari, yung pinaka-general. Tapos, doon sa important details, doon sa pinaka-body mo, doon mo na lang ilagay yung exact location kung saan nangyari yung be a fire incident, crime, or anything na relevant sa public, or kahit anong incident yan. Tapos, sa dulo mo na, lagay mo na yung mga other general information or background. Always put a background sa sinusulat mo. Kasi it is very important for your readers to picture what you are talking about in your article. Always consider this. When writing, always treat your readers as children, mga bata, hindi alam kung anong info. Always feed them with information na hindi kapag napatanong sila about this, for example, nabasa na. Sa unang paragraph, second, third, pagdating sa third, what is this sinasabi na banggit na ganito? Then put a background agad dun sa succeeding paragraph para magkaroon sila ng idea, oh, this corporation has been sued for several times because of because of this and this and this and that. Those are the things na ilalagay mo as background information sa dulo mo nilang ilalagay yun para magkaroon naman ng idea ang reader mo at hindi sila ma-lost sa pinag-uusapan nyo ay sa article mo. Kasi kapag ang mangyayari dyan, your reader is pupunta pa din, magsisearch pa ang reader mo na, oh my God, na hassle yun sa reader. So next slide please. Okay. So that's an example of my article. Yeah. And then next. Yes. Next. So this is something to ponder on kapag nagsusulat ka ng balita. O something to ponder upon kapag nagsusulat ka ng balita. Always remember that journalism is printing what someone else does not want printed. Everything else is public relation. PR ng iba. This is according to George Orwell. Hindi, tulad ng sabi ko kanina, you are not writing for an entity. You are writing for the public. You are writing to inform the public. You are not writing to please an entity, the government. You are not writing to please the government. Journalism is the main goal of journalism is informing the public of the current situation of the country. It is not to comfort the government, the police, or the army. It does not work like that. Journalism is always striving to help others, to inform, to open the eyes of the people about issues affecting their daily lives. That's journalism. Always remember that you are a journalist and you always have a purpose of informing the public, of giving them relevant information on a day-to-day basis. As my mentor once said, journalism is history written in a hurry. So yeah, you have that line, but always see to it magiging that your article will contain necessary information so that you could keep your readers very well informed. Well, that's all.
Thank you, Jel. So, ayan, tapos na si Jel sa kanyang talk. Actually, bilisan lang talaga to kasi alam niyo naman pag online session, ayaw din naman namin na mag-focus kayo dun sa information overload. So now, let's talk about experience. Kasi 'di ba, Jel, parang your best teacher is your experience, kumbaga,
Yes,
'di ba?
exactly.
Lalo na pagdating sa pagsusulat or sa journalism. Kasi kahit anong galing mo sa school, pag nandyan ka na sa field, iba na kasi parang hindi ka lang dapat matalino, dapat madiskarte ka. Lalo na sa pagkuha ng
Yeah,
sources.
tama.
And yun nga, sabi mo, you have to develop the rules for news, di ba? Na-discuss mo yung news values, yung inverted pyramid, at saka yung stages in news writing, di ba? Pero siguro add ko lang dun sa prominence. Kaya nagtataka yung iba, bakit ganito lang yung ginawa niya, nare-report na siya, di ba? Parang ano naman sa amin kung na-report siya. Usually, ganun talaga pag celebrities.
Yes.
Kasi prominent siyang tao, kilala siya. So, kahit madapa lang siya,
Mm-mm.
mare-report talaga siya. So, yun. May question actually si Princess.
Okay.
Bigyan natin si Princess para sa tanong.
Sir,
Yeah.
since puro kabataan or students po yung mostly active, lalo na po sa mga issue ngayon, do you have any tips po for those students who want to enter the field of journalism, especially in news writing?
Tips ko sa kanila, um, magbasa sila ng magbasa. Keep on reading. Kasi, in order for you to write, you have to read. Kasi, hindi ka matututo kung hindi ka magbabasa. Yung mga nagsasabing, pwede ka magsulat kahit hindi ka nagbabasa. Huwag kayong maniniwala doon. You have to keep on reading. Kahit nandiyan ka na sa field, read, 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 and read. Kung gusto mo talagang matuto, if you want to enter this profession, you should always be informed of the things happening in the society. It is not enough that you are already good in grammar. It is not enough that you are smart. You graduated with an honor. That's not enough. You should always grow as an individual who aspires to become a journalist someday. That's the bottom line. Kailangan huwag kang mapagod, magbasa ng magbasa. Kasi kapag huminto ka, hindi ka matututo eh. There are so many styles of writing. And kapag nagbasa ka na nagbasa, you are going to master them eh. And for example, this writer, ganito, this way siya magsulat. And then, kukunin mo yung ganong style kapag it just so happen na ganun din yung sinusulat mo or may gusto kang style na gayahin sa kanya kasi it conveys the message better. Diba? That's why reading is really potent for an aspiring journalist.
Thank you. Princess, do you have any follow-up questions?
Do you think po there's an advantage of learning news writing at a very young age po?
Yes, there are studies actually. There are studies saying these are the individuals na na-engage, for example, sa campus journalism. Pagdating nila ng college, hindi na sila nahihirapan to write thesis, researches. Because, they know how to cite sources, they know how to write, they know how to attribute. Those are the key things that we do when it comes to news writing. Now, you were trained by your mentors, especially if you start during your elementary days. Hindi ka na mahirapan sa college. I read this before. Well, nabasa ko siya sa isang libro before. Well, maraming libro yun actually. Proven na lahat ng nag-engage sa campus journalism, pagdating ng college, nag-excel sila. And wala silang difficulty, hindi sila masyadong nahihirapan. Unlike those students na hindi naging campus journalists during their younger years or nung nasa elementary sila or high school. Yeah. It's very beneficial to students to join or to learn campus journalism, attribution, how to write.
Thank you.
I'm good.
Sorry, akala ko tapos ka na. Pero yon, yung sabi mo, 'di ba, after para mas madali pag let's say naging campus
Yes,
journalist
oo.
ka na or nagsusulat ka na high school pagdating ng college, mas madali. And add ko lang, no, kasi 'di ba, parang sa college, usually pag pinagsusulat tayo, dapat within 1 hour na. Pero sa field, if I'm not mistaken, kasi ako diba, sa field,
30 minutes.
within 30 minutes, kailangan tapos
Yeah.
na pag-breaking. Tapos, minsan may
Magpa-fact check ka
advanced
pa doon,
course ka
Jean.
na, lalo na pag,
And nung college, hindi naman nagpa-fact check. Just keep on writing.
kaya may mga techniques na rin dyan. For example, yung magpo-cover ka ng event,
Oo.
championship.
Oo.
So, mas maganda mag-prepare ka na ng story mo ahead of time. Kumbaga, advancer,
Yeah.
kasuna na panalo si ganito or si ganito para may ready ka na format.
You have two scenarios. It's either win, matalo, or hindi matuloy yung laban. You always, good idea. Ayan din, ginagawa ka rin yan. May draft ako. For example, there was this event na talagang scheduled na i-cover ko. May draft na ako dyan. Kapag natalo siya, nanalo siya, or kapag nagkagulo. Minsan dinadagdag ko pa yung pang-apat na scenario. Kapag, basta, yung pinaka-worst case scenario, sinusubukan ko na rin isulat. So parang mag-fill out na lang ako ng details. Saksak na lang ng saksak. And then, background about, for example, during an election, background of the candidate, ilang years na silang nag-read sa city na to, or meron ba silang election fraud cases before. Those are the things na dinadraft mo na kapag scheduled naman yung event or hindi naman biglaan yung story mo. You're
Yes,
expecting these things.
kasi 'di ba the more experience or the more you experience something, parang the more na nagkakaroon ka ng idea kung anong possible na maging story kapag ganito, kapag ganyan,
Oo.
mga side ng
And the
story.
younger,
And
the younger ones na nakasama namin sa press room, they're wondering kung bakit nakapagpasa na kami agad kasi nagsusulat pa lang. Kasi ito yung well, hindi naman mistake, pero yung karaniwang ginagawa nila is that after masulat, after pa yung mangyari yung, for example, there was a decision of the court na nag-come up na ng decision ng court. Yung ginagawa nila on that mismo, parang after pa lang ng decision, dun sila mag-research. Nandun na nga, you're waiting for the decision of the court. That's why not research pa lang ahead of time so that what you're going to put na lang, some quotes and what's the decision, naging decision ng court, diba? Para mas mapadali yung ano. These are very helpful sa mga gusto maging journalist.
so ayun, napakagandang tip nun galing kay Jel. If you're waiting for a decision from the court or siguro if you're waiting for if you're writing a story na parang related sa or naghihintay kayo ng resulta, mas maganda mag-research na kayo and to draft the story na para yung result na lang mismo yung isusulat nyo and makapagpasa na kayo agad.
Oo.
So,
Hindi lang sa story yan ha, pati sa tweet.
sa tweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kaya sa tweet kailangan kasi mabilis, 'di ba? So mag-draft ka na. May draft naman dun sa Twitter. Tapos this is also one like na ginagawa namin in order for us to efficiently monitor news. You know, there is Google Alerts. So you key in these words na parang once published na or once na may mag-post about or may mga blog na mag-post about it. For example, certain politician or their full name, the city, you're gonna be alerted by the Google Alert. That's very then you could check na totoo kaya itong pinost na ganito. It's social media is also helpful. Sa Facebook, you key in for example, you're monitoring a county or a certain city, you just search about kasi sometimes netizens have many rants, especially if affected sila about, for example, nawala ng kuryente itong isang area to, nawala ng water, may problem with the with this certain official, merong election fraud na nangyayari dito sa during this time nga maganda nga it's easier to to monitor. Yeah, those are the tricks. You use Google Alerts. Bakit walang voice?
Ay,
Si
hindi
Jean.
natin
Jean,
marinig
hindi
si
ka na
Jean.
marinig.
Pamute ka, Jean. Naku, wala yatang audio.
Ano kayang sinasabi ni Jean?
Jean,
Jean,
sumigaw
hindi
ka,
ka namin
Jean.
marinig.
Ay, sorry. Hindi pa
Ayan.
rin pala. Akala ko
Ayan.
nag-unmute na ako. Ayan.
Ayan.
Oo, wala. Naku, uulitin
Ulitin
mo
ko
yung
na
mga
naman.
sinabi mo.
Kasi kanina nakita ko tumatawa si Jam. Sabi ko parang naka-experience na to ng maraming mga breaking news. Ano ba yun, Jam? Share mo naman yan.
Hindi,
Mga tweet.
Agree ako dun sa sinabi ni Jel kasi tip din yan sa amin nung editor namin. Dapat, syempre kapag nagko-cover ka kasi ng isang beat, syempre alam mo na dapat kung ano yung mga dapat mong i-prepare. Meron ka na dapat naka-prepare lagi na background sa stories mo. For example, may binabantayan kang storya. Syempre yung mga follow-up doon, lagi mong lalagyan ng background. Sabi nga nila, wag mong i-assume na alam na ng readers mo kung tungkol saan yung sinusulat mo. So it is important na bigyan mo pa rin sila ng backgrounder kahit may bago kang information na nire-report. Ayun.
Okay, thank you so much, Jam. Meron ding magandang nagtanong sa
Oo, may
magandang
questions tayo.
Go, Beth.
Oo, sa Facebook
Beth.
meron. Oo, Jel, ito yung question ni sino ba nagtanong nito? Sir Jobert yata. Sabi niya, ano po ang pinakamagandang angle sa
Sabi ni
headline at
Jobert de la
lead ng
Cruz,
news?
Pilas or
Well,
Pilian.
Pinakamagandang
Paano
angulo daw.
pinipili yung gel?
Oo.
well, it depends. Ikaw, well,
Oo.
it
Paano ka
depends.
ba
Kung
nagdedesisyon?
kailangan mo mag-discern ng something na mai-intrigue yung public, mai-intrigue yung tao. And parang once you read the headline, oh my God, I want to read everything. Mai-intrigue ka. And the usual na na the usual things. Of course, you're going to always highlight what is controversial, pero na to the extent na okay, quote and unquote, sasalsalin mo yung balita. You are going to report a very controversial and very factual. Dapat ang controversial and factual, yun dapat ang maging angle mo.
Mm-mm.
Tapos when it comes to lead, syempre, always, sa headline, keep it short. Keep it short, pero magkakaroon ng interest yung reader mo na basahin kapag nabasa pa lang yung headline mo. Kasi the first thing you're going to read, kasi malaki yan, di ba? Is the headline. And then the lead, always keep it short and simple. Tulad ng sabi ko kanina, you don't put all the 5 W's in an H dyan sa lead. Mo siya, i-disperse mo na maigi dun sa paragraphs mo. Huwag mong isaksak ng isaksak dyan. And then, hindi yung awkward na yung pagkakabasa mo. Don't be too wordy. Also, avoid adjectives because news writing is news writing. It's factual. It's not meant to praise someone. It's not meant to laud someone. Always skip as much as possible, do not use adjectives. You could describe something by describing them alone, but to put flowery words, it's a big no-no. Especially sa lead din, huwag mo na sa headline. There are some people came up with witty headlines during the di ba? During the Mateo Sara Gudicelli how will it turn the issue?
Wedding nila yung wedding.
The divine intervention, something like that. Something catchy. Always keep it catchy.
Very
Always
intriguing,
need to be
diba?
catchy. Oo. Kasi if it's boring, oh my God, news is already boring and you're making it a lot more boring. Wala nang babasa sa'yo. Nobody's gonna read. Diba? Yun lang po. So, wag niyo naman pong salsalin yung yung balita. But keep it catchy and factual. Basta be smart about it. Pero wag naman punong-puno na adjectives mamaya-maya kung ano-ano ng adjectives na nakalagay dyan. Always avoid adjectives. Verbs are your friends. Use strong verbs, I think. When it comes to headline, use strong verbs. Appropriate verbs. See to it na you always check the dictionary. It is your friend. Huwag kang magmarunong. Yan ang number 1 na tinurusan. Huwag kang magmarunong. Basahin mo yung dictionary. I-check mo muna. Kasi don't be too sure of yourself. Yan yung sabi ng edits na namin. Lagi mong i-check ang dictionary. Your dictionary is your friend. Look for powerful verbs. When in news writing, verbs are your friends. Adjectives are your enemies. Yun lang po.
Naalala ko din, ang isa sa mga activities namin before sa classroom is yung word na said. Diba? Kasi gamit na gamit yan lalo na pag-statement.
Said. Yeah.
Ang ginagawa sa amin, parang 40 students kami before sa classroom, if I'm not mistaken. Lahat kami kailangan magsabi ng synonyms ng said or pwedeng i-replace sa said. So yun, magandang activity yun kasi you can replace the word said para hindi naman kayo paulit-ulit.
Yes.
So yun, ikaw Miss Beth, may gusto ka idagdag sa headline writing, lead ng news?
Yung headline writing, medyo mahirap sigurong yun. Mahirap pag-aralan. Ako, personally, yung headline writing parang nagamay ko siya siguro mga third year into the industry na ako, ganyan. Hindi, dahil nga tayo namang mga news reporter, hindi naman tayo nag-headline, di ba? Yung mga editor naman natin. Pero kasi ngayon, dahil may online na, nire-require na rin na mag-headline. So, yun lang. Keep it short and simple, di ba? Keys. Saka yung sa lead, mabanggit ko lang, kasi parang lagi itong sinasabi ng mentor namin, na you should tell the story in your first 5 words. So, parang yung first 5 words mo pa lang dun sa sa storya mo, alam na ng mga tao kung ano yung storya, kung ano yung tungkol saan yung sinusulat mo, kung ano yung binabasa nila. Para ganun, huwag ka na masyadong magpalabok, magpasakalye. Diretso ka na agad dahil nga ang mga mambabasa ngayon, yung
Very short.
attention span nila maikli na lang. So you have to rise above those new challenges sa readership. Tapos meron pa pala tayong question dito for Jel. Ulit.
Yes, tayo.
Yeah.
Shoot lang.
Jel,
Ah,
ready ka na ba?
wag lang po about
Parang
So, ito yung question.
Parang hot seat.
Ready ka na ba dito? Oo. Ito, from Sir Maki Rebolido. Sabi niya, nowadays, there is always subjectivity in the news, often biased towards a specific thing. Tapos nagpangalan
There's
siya ng
always
mga news ng media outfit. Di ko nababanggitin. Oo. How do you remain objective without being too
well,
late?
there, ito yung sinasabi ng
Nababasa mo
professor
naman yan.
before. You can be you can present all the facts, but the thing is that there is always an angle. There is always a slant. It is like composing a song. You can just go like that. You have to go like that. The point is that it has to have shape. It has to have certain strength on it. Hindi pwedeng wala kang angle eh. It is either you're going to pick this side or this side. You could be objective by presenting both sides. But the thing is that you're going to highlight. That's why there is the inverted pyramid. About an issue, you can always present both sides of the issue. If that for you is being objective, therefore that's okay. But the thing is that always remember, young journalists, that you will always pick a side when it comes to pagsusulat. Kasi angulo yan eh. Hindi ka naman pwedeng, if it's a song, it's flat. It's like that, straight. There's no rhythm. Pangit, in shorts. Pangit talaga. There's always meron talaga lagi. Kasi you have to pick an angle. There's no such thing as walang bias ang writer. You always pick a side. It's either for the people or for an entity. You always pick a side. For example, you're writing about this rally, and then you choose to highlight the side of the PR of the corporation, or yun. For example, you highlight that, and then you put dun sa baba yung side naman ng employees, why they are rallying, na they are not being compensated well. You put dun sa baba. And then this writer A yun ha, then writer B. Si writer B naman ang gagawin niya is that he's going to highlight the story of the workers, and then he's gonna somewhat news feature it na isusulat niya na this is the struggle of Mang Juan, 71 years old but still working as a contractual worker in this company, along with ganyan. Then you always pick a side. Pero si writer B, susulat niya rin yung nasa ilalim din yung side ng company na gina-justify nila na they have fair labor practices. Kapag writer ka, you have to discern. You have to pick a side. But I always tell kids this. Dapat ang side mo lagi nasa tao. For the people. You're writing for the people. You're not being paid. Unless, sabi nga kanina, the quote kanina ni George Orwell. Diba? Journalism is writing things na di gustong makita ng iba. Yan. Things na hindi gustong makita ng iba. Everything else is public relations. In order for the company, public relations is making someone or an entity or a corporation feel good about themselves, lauding them for these things, giving their side, or parang defending them. That's public relation. That's the difference of journalism and public relation. Journalism is reporting facts. But then again, you can be objective by putting both sides, but you always choose an angle. You cannot just write very plain. It's gonna be dull. It's gonna get flat. It will be flat. It's like a song, flat song. Sintonado, ika nga. If you're going to write like that, that's sintonado. You don't write like that because nobody's gonna read it. Believe me, nobody's going to have interest. It's a waste of time. That's why it's very important for you to pick a very controversial, I think, controversial and factual side. You always pick. You always side with the people. Your responsibilities to the people. Responsibility mo, i-inform sila of things na hindi gusto ma-publish ng kahit anong entity, be it may government or public or private enterprise. That's journalism, eh. Unless you want to, ano, you want to work as a PR person, of course you're gonna side with them. That's the thing with it. You always pick a side. You can be objective by putting both sides. Remember the reporter A and reporter B na sinasabi ko kanina? They both included in their story both sides. But the thing is that they picked a highlight. They highlighted one. Because that's how it is. Eh. You have to pick a side. You have to pick an angle. You know, you don't write flat. You always write na may angle.
Oo, at saka madagdag ko lang, no? Kasi yung sa atin naman, hindi naman, yung pagsusulat ng news, it's not about being biased over say a person, over an organization, or over a party, di ba? Tayo naman kasi nagsusulat tayo, inaanggulo natin, hindi yung pinapaboran natin si ganito, pinapaboran si ganyan. Syempre kailangan inaanggulo natin yung storya natin sa paraang kasi lagi nating iniisip it's for the readers naman, hindi it's for you to express and to impress, di ba? Oo.
For
So kailangan
for the naaapi.
hindi, tsaka
Diba?
kailangan
We're gonna
ang
highlight
information,
someone.
information kasi yung binibigay mo, news yung dinedeliver mo. So kung gusto mo ng mga ganun, magbasa ka sa editorial, sa opinion, di ba? Pero kasi
kaya
tayo,
pumunta sila doon sa website ng corporation, yun yung basahin nila yung PR.
kasi tayo ang gulo naman yung
people
yung
usually get
tinatansya
mad at
natin.
journalists. That's a known fact. Parang, okay, you're so
At saka-
biased. You kept writing against this company or you kept writing against the government. When, dude, it's factual. Then you could have photos and videos. Somebody even messaged me before, when I woke up, parang you're so biased. Ganyan. Parang, dude, come again. That I have proof and videos and photos about it.
Tsaka,
Lagay mo
Jel,
yung side.
i-remind natin.
Nahihurt naman yung pag when it's written in a specific way. Pero it was written factually. But the thing is that these people, they tend to be onion skin pagdating sa mga ganyan. Because if you don't want to hear about this thing, of course you're gonna get offended whether we write objectively or not. I wrote it objectively. So we're not here to please you. We're here to inform the people.
Correct.
Technology.
So they say writers have their own biases, ganyan. Pero I think readers also, diba? They have their they also have their own bias.
That's why you have a coconut. Parang you're going to discern. It's not about mind conditioning. It's the facts are being laid down to you. You have to nguyain mo, hindi mong nguyain sarili mo. I-check mo. You could check for another if you want. Pero it's not being, hindi naman pinupusha yun. Ito ang totoo, ganyan. It does not mean like that. It just so happened that this writer wants to air the side of this person because of, I think it's their discretion. Is there your discretion? When you're a writer, you have your discretion Whether kung anong i-highlight mo Diba? Yung i-highlight mo ba yung mga mayaman or yung mga mahirap na about this parang legal battle. Diba? You always take a side. Pero the thing is that you can be objective. You put yung side din ng both parties. Diba? Before nga, there was this batas na pinupush nila. Kung gaano daw kahaba yung statement ng kabila, ganun din daw dapat ang haba yung sa So parang nagsabi ng professor namin, paano diba, no comment yung sabihin. So no comment na mahaba rin. Parang ganun din daw. Parang ito yung side ng ano, ito rin yung side ng ano. Pero sinabi lang niya no comment. Di ba? Okay yun, ano. May mga, ito talaga, reality. May mga masasaktan at masasaktan sa isusulat niyo. Intention, wala man kayong intention manakit. You just, gusto niyo lang mag-inform. May mga away sa'yo. Especially now, very accessible, Facebook. Oh my God, they're gonna search you. Tapos, the next day, spam. Oh, why did you ganyan, write about this, ganyan. And they're gonna pepper you with those things. They're gonna say, liberal party ka pala eh. Something like that. Pero, loser, people tend to be like that. Well, narrow-headed people.
Meron ditong question actually. Speaking of biases kasi kanina, di ba? Parang sabi ni Robert Ramirez.
Si Bert
Question
yan eh. Walang ya
Yes.
naman. Philippine Star Reporter po yan.
Question po. Why do people
Ayan, may
label
question.
fake news
Hindi ba
as
spam yan? Why do people label fake news as fake news? Ayan na, nabasa ko rin yan. Tigilan mo ko, Bert. Kasi you cannot say na news daw siya kasi hindi naman factual kung fake. Tama rin naman. May point naman. Oo. So fake information ba, Bert? Isa sa batas na ba natin yan? So dapat fake information. Or misleading information na lang siguro, Bert. Ganun na lang. Hindi na fake news. Nagagalit po si Robertson sa mga gumagamit ng word na fake news.
Ano na lang, Jel.
Naku,
Ikaw naman,
ito
paano?
po yung isang maraming kaaway.
Gigas natin yan sa mga susunod.
Oo, nakasuhan yan.
paunlakan tayo. Mr. Robertson Ramirez.
Oo, wanted
Jel,
yan sa
ano
mga
na lang? I-relate na lang natin yung question ni Bert sa fake news naman.
Sa
Paano
misleading
naman,
information.
Jel? Jel?
Jen,
Jel? I-relate naman natin para lang medyo matackle din natin yung fake news. Magbigay ka naman ng tip kung paano, especially sa mga kabataan ngayon, kung paano nila ma-discern kung fake news or hindi yung nakikita nila sa Facebook, sa mga news feeds nila, sa mga nababasa nila. Sa tingin mo, paano?
Meron kasi tayong dinatawag na journalistic facts, di ba? Ang journalistic facts, these are the current available during the time. Yun sa nila. Sorry, nakaano ko sa news gathering. Sa nakikita nila ngayon, siguro they should check muna. Because many people, minsan nga, educated people pa, attorneys, medical professionals. Yung friend ko kasi na attorney, may kapatid siya na medical professional or attorney rin. Tapos, na biktima rin ng, quote and unquote, fake news or misleading information na kumakalat sa social media. Very prevalent during this time, no? Very. But the thing is that you have Mr. Google with you. You check na lang. You always check. You look for credible sources, or if isa lang siguro yung nagsulat, or parang na-check mo naman yun. If the graphics siguro looks very parang sketchy, if you find it sketchy, dun mo ma-check din. Look for other sources. You don't just rely on one source. It is possible that minsan, there are just moments na yung ibang nakukuryente. There are just moments na, di ba, yung ibang news organizations nakukuryente. Because of unreliable sources or just so happens some sources tend to give wrong information. It just so happen na mali rin na realize sa kanila. That's why it's very important na first-hand yung information na makukuha mo. For example, may isang taong namatay, pero some people say na buhay pa, nasa hospital. Hindi mo i-report agad yun kapag third-hand information. You check with the family, check with the doctor. You don't report kasi, be sensitive when writing about these things. These are things na makakasakit sa feelings ng mga tao. So you double check. You don't just tweet. You don't just tweet agad. Double check mo. especially kapag hindi ka certain about the information that was given to you. Kasi third-hand information, hindi ka naman first-hand na if you went to the hospital and then you spoke to the doctor, maybe you should, yun, pwede yun. First-hand information mo spoke to the physician of the ailing person and then he told you he's already dead. You could tweet, you could report. But always double check. You know, ngayon, lately, di ba, very prevalent, yung mga artista pinapatay nila sa social media. Parang, Brad Pitt died ganyan. Di ba? These are the misleading information. Hindi naman totoong nangyari. Well, some bloggers, they use controversy para makakuha sila ng mas maraming likers, mas maraming sharers, mas maraming viewers. Kada click kasi may bayad yan. You know, they need to monetize. Kaya ganun ang ginagawa nila. Clickbait. Yan, di ba? Usually clickbait yung story na parang cliffhanger. Because you thought this person or celebrity did this, pero hindi naman when you click the link. Then there's so many videos. There are many ads kasi so many people are clicking the link. It's clickbait stories na hate nating lahat. Misleading information. Or ang tawag ng lahat ngayon, fake news. Oo. Very prevalent ngayon. That's why cross-checking, double-checking, Google, nandiyan ang Google, daling mag-search, few types away, before posting it, think twice, diba? Mare, baka pala, bibigay na kayo ng maling information sa makabasa dyan, someone gullible. And then, yung face mask nila, nilagyan ng gas. And then, nahilo-hilo sila. Diba? And so, you have to verify. You look for someone credible. Always check if who's speaking, if it is a medical professional, or if it's not a medical professional. Kasi kung hindi naman medical professional, why are you going to listen? Diba? Sa doktor nga, and for example, sa lawyer nga, you don't listen someone na hindi ang specialization is not, for example, may criminal case ka, tapos ang specialization mo, yung friend mo, criminal law yung specialization, tapos magtatanong ka sa someone na ang specialization is family law. So, di ba, you should check pa rin. Hindi naman lahat ng sinasabi nila tama. You should always check or look for credible sources na magsasabi ng ganyan. And then, always check social media, tweets, or on Google, in the web. Yan, always double check.
Okay. Kay Princess naman tayo. Oo, kay Princess naman bilang estudyante pa siya, second year college ka, no? At nagsusulat siya sa publication nila. Ikaw naman, paano ka naman nag-discern kung fake news na ba yung nababasa mo, nakikita mo o hindi? Or paano ka hindi nagpapa-fall sa fake news?
Actually, yun nga po. Talamak nga po ngayon yung fake news or misleading news. Usually po kasi, yung mga kabataan ngayon, ang binabasa lang po nila yung headline. Yung title lang po na kunwari, yun po, yung ngayon po, si Briones na nag-positive daw po sa COVID. Then, ang ginagawa ko po, to verify po na totoo po yung news na yon, i-open ko po yung article. Then, makikita ko po na, ang tagal na po palang nangyari nun. April pa po pala, gano'n. So, ayun po. With that po, naiiwasan po natin yung mag-spread pa po. Kasi imbes na i-share mo siya bigla dahil ang daming nag-share na iba na makikiano ka na rin, makikigaya ka na rin. You have to read the whole article first. Yun po.
Tsaka syempre kailangan i-double check din natin, sabi nga ni Princess kanina, yung date ng publication. Kasi, for example, marami tayong campus journalists na nakikinig ngayon. Marami tayong campus journalists na nakikinig. Ngayon, more on Facebook na tayo, di ba? So, yung mga articles before pwedeng mag-up uli. Yung mga announcements before pwedeng i-up uli. Yung term nga nila up, di ba? Tapos, like recently, nakita ko sa FEU, may in-up sila na start na uli ng classes. Ngayon, kung hindi ka discerning, kasi last year. Kung hindi ka discerning, maniniwala ka. Syempre hot issue ngayon, 'di ba, yung yung pag-start ng
Hardware.
classes. Parang baka mamaya magalit ka agad, magsabi ka na agad na bakit kayo mag-start ng classes, wala pa kang vaccine, 'di ba? Ganon. So, 'yon mahalaga na huwag kayo agad maniniwala sa nakikita nyo. Hindi lahat ng nakikita nyo sa social media tama. Hindi porket nasa Facebook, totoo siya. Kasi maraming ganun. Hindi, nabasa ko online eh. Hindi ganun, guys. Hindi porket nabasa mo siya online,
Nasa
totoo
gilid
siya.
lang, nasa gilid lang yung date, hindi makita.
Oo, nandun lang
Diba?
yung date. So, yun. Para sa mga campus journalists and students natin dyan. Kasi maraming nakikinig sa atin, Jel, na campus journals.
Oo.
Eh.
At saka, Jel, meron
Ano pa
pa
ba,
isang question. Oo, may question pa isa dito. Sabi niya,
Wag na yung Robertson Ramirez, paban nga.
Oo, wag na yun si Robertson. sabi dito, any tips to make an article short and simple as possible? Parang kanina na nasabi
Stick
mo
with the
rin.
issue. Stick with the issue. Don't put adjectives. And then look for the intriguing angle. Something that will inspire people to do something, to make it right, to do something, pero without even saying do this, do that. Parang you're indirectly affecting their perception about things. Pero well, always keep it short and simple. Ang pagsulat naman ng article, hindi naman kailangan mahaba in order for you to become credible. Pero it has, dapat siksik pa rin sa backgrounder. Kasi nga, yun nga, tulad na sabi rin ni Jamie kanina, kailangan mong i-treat ang bumabasa sa'yo na parang first time lang niya nabasa. Kasi, oh my God, kasi I myself kapag nagbabasa ako about business news, syempre, hindi ko naman ako familiar sa kanilang jargons and the happenings sa business sector. Pero, because the writer is really good, naiintindihan ko kasi it's included dun sa ibaba na parang in-explain niya sa akin. That's how you should write. Hindi yung magtatanong ka or hindi yung magpapa-research pa yung reader mo. Ganun. Always keep it short and simple. Iwas-iwasan yung
Ano nangyari kay Jel? Ay, nawala sila. Jel? Nawala si Jel. JB?
nasira yung
Ayan.
Nawala yung connection ko. Oo.
Okay. Jel,
Paging my provider.
Oo. Jel, may question pa.
Yes,
Oo, sabi niya,
I shifted to data.
What course in college should I take po if I want to become a journalist?
Well, it depends on you. There are many varieties of broadcast communication. If gusto mo makita lagi yung mukha mo, or if you have a very well-modulated voice, there is communication arts, kasi ako comm arts ako, and then both fields kasi kami. So, print and broadcast. So, pero ang aking pinaka, what do you call this nga? Anong term dyan? Di ba may minor and, what's the other one? Major ko. Ang pinaka-major ko, writing for print, and editorial and feature writing. So, yun talaga yung finocus. Tapos, home arts journal. If you want to, parang, to be specific na yun ang gusto mo, yun writing talaga, journalism, take mo. Well, there are so many good schools sa Pilipinas offering such courses. Yeah. Siyempre, mahal ng education, hindi po nagtipid. Mahal ng edukasyon sa Pilipinas, especially if you're entering a private institution. Mahina, magkano nga, Jamie? Mahina ang 30,000 per sem,
Oo.
Yan pala, mataas pa pala yung yun ang gawin nyo. Kapag kapasok kayo sa mga malaking universities, shake down the admins. Parang you always question, why are you raising the tuition and other fee? Diba? Other fees. Bakit kayo nagtaas naman? Kakataas nyo lang. Diba? There are this successful write-ups na was able to help the increase. Because journalism is it can cause change, diba? It can stop something. It can trigger something. It can stop. It can trigger. Ganyan ka powerful yung journalism. Sabi nga ng professor ko before, ang Diyos nga sa isang salita, diba? Nagawa ang mundo. Something like that. Yeah, there's power in language talaga. So words, very powerful ang words. May question pa ba? Nasaan na si Jean? Naapektuhan din ba
Oo,
siya?
Nawala
Problem
si
yung
Mukhang pareho kami ng provider.
Oh, nasabay kayong nawala.
Oo.
Si Princess
Huwag na
naman,
natin
tanong natin, may
banggitin kasi
question ka pa
kikita
ba?
yun lalo. Tofu.
May question ka pa ba kay Jel, Princess? Baka meron ka pang mga
So,
gustong ipahabol.
Oo.
so far po,
Go
wala.
ahead, Princess. Wala na. Parang meron.
May
Pero
point
gusto ko lang
ka.
idagdag no doon sa sabi na kung nagtatanong ng course. Kasi kung parang hindi ata common knowledge no, na kahit naman wala kang um, training ata sa journalism. So, parang kasi katulad sa atin sa MB, tumatanggap ng kahit hindi graduate basta meron kang experience sa journalism, right? Sa journalism, sa campus
Yung
journal
mga
or nagsulat.
datihan. Oo.
Kasi parang yun yung unang tinatanggap
Kasi
sa atin.
before, na ano kasi, kahit hindi ka join graduate. Pero lately, parang may piling mga companies din eh. You know, di ba?
Kasi kailangan
Kasi
equip ka with discipline.
lahat ng communication graduates, lately, inaano sila eh. They are being forced to study para journalism laws and ethics, na parang what to do, what not to do, what, speaking of journalism laws and ethics, di ba sabi nga nila, parang may question sa isang room, tapos there's this document na kailangan mo kunin, tapos lumabas yung official, tapos very adamant siyang ibigay sa yung document. If you're a good citizen, you're not going to get the document or check the document. If you're a good journalist, you're going to get the document. But that's true, diba? Because that's your profession. Well, pero
Jel, dahil patapos na tayo, na lang, dahil karamihan sa mga viewers natin, mga campus journalists, ito yung mga aspiring journalist pa or young journalist, ano yung mga advice mo sa kanila? Any tips or basta advice, sa kanila?
advice ko sa kanila kapag always be humble. Kung gusto niyo pumasok sa always be humble. Tapos respect your mentors. Magsulat ka para sa public. You always take into consideration the public kapag nagsusulat ka. Always be ethical kapag nagsusulat ka. Huwag ka maging insensitive. Ilagay mo lahat ng information, both sides. If hindi ka man sagutin ng at least you try to reach out to that person that you're getting their side about this issue. You don't just print something that will defame them without even getting their side, because that's illegal. Always see to it that magbabasa ka na magbabasa at hindi ka magpapagod magbasa about current issues. You must be well informed of the issues happening in our society. You always be critical to the sense that you see the world in a different light. Because we journalists see something. For example, there was this old woman na namamalimos. Some people just see, ordinary people just see an old woman na namamalimos. But us journalists, we see her as the face of poverty in the country. What we do is that you could even interview that woman, write a news feature about her. Always remember that the small people, meron lagi silang magandang story na ikikwento sa iyo. Kapag nakamit ka ng mga ganyang tao, yan yung mga magandang sulat eh. Hindi lang naman prominent officials natin isusulat mo. You write about the small people, the least, the poor, less fortunate ones. Yan dapat mo see to it na you try to write something to help them, to help them na ma-expose ang sufferings nila. If the government can do something to alleviate your living. Kasi, there are these articles na nakaka-cause ng change talaga. Pero once you expose them, it will trigger change. It will trigger positive change to people, to the society, of how we see things, of how we deal things. From there, from that old woman na nakita mo, pwede mo siya interviewin, i-relate mo sa poverty, pasukan mo ng backgrounders about the things, or how many elderlies ang nagtatrabaho pa rin sa age na ganito, sa age na ganyan. Those are the simple things na hindi napapansin ng ordinaryong tao because we see the world in a different light lang. We always write, and we don't just write to inform, we also write to inspire people, always try to help people. Hindi lang tayo nagsusulat to inform people, we also try to inspire people and to help people. Yeah, write about someone who needs something, parang they have a very poor condition. If you want to inspire, write someone who has struggled in life, then they became triumphant, they were able to finish college even if they were just selling some palita on the streets. Diba? Those are stories worth writing. And Jamie wrote something about that, about a very inspirational story. Diba? Nagsulat ka before, Jamie. Those are the things na will inspire. Kasi some people think about journalism as to inform lang eh. Journalism is also to inspire people, diba? To live their lives the best way possible, diba? Help others. Those are the things that journalism.
Nawala yung audio ni Jel. Jel? Jel? Okay. Jel, may one question na lang ako sa'yo. One question from my answer, Jel. Ikaw naman, what do you get from writing from writing stories that would help people? What do you get naman ikaw as a journalist?
As a journalist, it will fulfill you eh. Parang your life purpose to nakatulong ka ng tao, it feels good eh. Na because of you wrote about about this person, it fulfills you. Na parang this is my role in life. It is not only to inform the public, it's also to inspire the public and help others. You know? Kasi ganun ka powerful yung journalism eh. Nandiyan na sa'yo yung power eh. Sa'yo. You should use it well to inspire, to help. Kasi, especially if you wrote it very well, help will pour in. People from all walks of life. Tutulong yan. That's how powerful journalism is. It's very powerful, yeah. Generally, masarap yung feeling. It fulfills you. Fulfill mo.
Ay, nawala si Jel. Ayan. Oo, Jel, we agree. Sobrang inspiring talaga kapag nakakasulat ka ng something to help other people. Ngayon, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. Ngayon, gusto naming tanungin si Princess. Princess, kamusta naman yung experience
Yes,
mo sa ating live session ngayon? You can also share your experience.
Actually, it brings back parang memories ko na rin po nung junior high school ako because I learned news writing when I was in 9th grade pa po. So, I already attended seminars like school-based campus journalism, press conference, ganun po. And with that po, because of this live seminar, nabalik tanaw po yung experience ko dati and also naalala ko ulit yung mga dati ko nang natutunan. And it will help po. Matutulungan po ako lalo nito sa aking, in terms of my news writing.
Thank you so much, Princess.
Thank you po.
Ano pala si Princess, no? Nagko-contest pala,
Oo.
contestera pala siya. Si
Yes po.
Princess.
Oo, marami rin siyang
Naka-national?
experience.
Oo nga, hindi natin
Actually
natanong
po,
kung ano mga
ang
experiences.
actually po sa ano po talaga ako, radio broadcaster po ako nung junior
Okay.
high school. Yes po. And syempre po, in terms of radio broadcasting, hindi lang po kailangan na maganda yung boses mo, magaling ka mag-deliver, but also yung kailangan mo rin matutunan kung paano magsulat ng news. Kasi ikaw mismo yung gagawa or magsusulat ng news na i-deliver mo during the contest. So, doon po, dahil doon po sa experience ko na yun, natuto rin po ako mag-news writing.
Ayan. Thank you so much sa ating
Patapos na
guest.
tayo.
Oo. Thank you so much, Jel, sa pag-share ng iyong experience with us. For sure, maraming natutunan, lalo na yung ating mga aspiring journalists. At kay Princess, sa pagsama sa aming live today, ikaw yung unang nakasama namin sa aming
Oo nga.
live seminar. Sana
Kasi
marami kang
inopen lang
natutunan.
inopen lang natin tong slot na to para sa mga Now You members, di ba? Sa mga members ng Facebook group na Now You, ikaw naman. Para magkaroon sila ng parang one-on-one or parang more in-depth discussion with our guest speaker, si Jel. Actually, kanina pa ako nasa background. At natatakot lang ako pumasok kasi baka magloko na naman yung internet. Anyway, thank you so much, Jel. Ang dami naming natutunan sa'yo. Tsaka, for sure, marami yung mga ano dyan, mga, anong tawag nyo dun, usually sa mga baguhan na journalist, bagito ba yun, if I'm not mistaken?
Aspiring journalist.
Bagito. Bagito.
Campus journalist.
Oh, bagito. Yung mga nasa first, second year pa lang nila. Yes,
Rookie.
for sure madami silang natutunan dahil kay Jel. Sa susunod, mauuna na sila sa yung magpasa ng news.
Makakasama pa si, malay nyo makasama nyo pa si Jel.
Sabado kayo.
Oo, for sure. Invite pa natin ulit. Marami pa yung hindi nasabi.
Oo, marami
And by
pa
the way,
actually.
Ayun. So, thank you so much, Jel, for being with us tonight sa ating Now Talks. Actually, first, ano pa lang to eh. Ikaw talaga yung alay namin eh.
Unang salto.
First speaker
First
namin na
edition.
parang semi-formal training on online campus journalism. Nakita ko kanina sa
Akala
comments
ko
may nagtatanong
magkakwentuhan
kung...
lang tayo dito. Na-pressure ako bigla.
Nakita ko kanina sa comments may nagtatanong
Oo,
if meron
may
pa daw
nagtatanong.
next.
Ayan.
Madami pa.
Madami pa.
Ano
Una
yung
pa
next
lang
natin,
to.
Jam?
Marami pa tayong training sa pagsasamahan. May hinanda pa tayong talks on research. Sa susunod, hindi sa susunod na linggo pala yun. Sa next na linggo pa. Okay, so yung iba pa, feature writing, science writing, at marami pang iba. Yung iba kinakausap pa lang namin, kino-confirm pa namin. Kaya dapat mag-abang lang kayo
Yes,
lagi
sports
sa
writing.
Facebook page. Sports writing.
Oo.
Mag-abang lang kayo sa Facebook page namin sa Now para mas maging
And
updated kayo kung ano pa yung mga susunod naming magiging. Saka, syempre, sa Facebook group
And again,
natin,
this is... yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
kayo... Ayun.
O, tsaka banggitin ko lang, no? Inopen natin tong platform natin kasi dahil quarantine, parang walang means yung iba, yung mga campus journalists natin para mag-training. So, inopen natin tong platform natin for them.
Yes. Somehow,
Yes, Jean?
alam ko naman, karamihan dito, lalo na yung mga campus journalist, alam na nila yung information, yung mga news values, most likely alam na nila yan. Pero why do we need to discuss this as a refresher, di ba? Katulad nga niyan, alam nila na dapat advance sila nagsusulat ng story, pero saka lang nila ma-realize na ulit na, ay oo nga, dapat pala advance ko sinulat yan. Mga ganon.
Ano nangyari sa atin?
Pawala-wala yung signal.
Narinig
Yung
niyo ba
patapos na
ako?
tayo,
Sorry,
nawala ka ng konti.
Okay. Sorry. So, yun. May susunod pa tayong mga online training, online campus journalism trainings. We have research, science writing, feature writing, sports writing, layout, hopefully.
Oo.
may kinokontrata. Then may mga
Sana may
kinakausap na.
cartooning din. Sana.
So
Kaya
yun, para
mag-abang lang
mas
kayo.
yes, and this is totally free. So yun, manood lang kayo sa Facebook Live namin every week. Next week wala po tayo because we have the spoken yung in-announce namin na spoken word poetry contest. So next week po ang announcement ng winners, and before that magpe-perform muna yung ating 10 finalists. So yun, si Princess galing siya sa Now You Facebook group, sa Facebook group ng Now, which is Now You Ikaw Naman. So if ever na gusto nyong sumali sa susunod naming mga Facebook live sessions, join lang kayo sa namin, sa Facebook group namin para next time ma-invite namin kayo. So yan, sa spoken word poetry, go ahead, Beth.
Yes.
Yan, marami na
na-close na ako
nag-aabang.
ng Ikaw na lang, Jamie.
Marami na nag-aabang sa results ng ating spoken word poetry contest. Bali, mamaya, abangan po ninyo, i-announce namin kung sino yung top 10. Marami pong nagpasa, and 100 plus, tama? 100
150.
150 plus.
150.
Hanggang alas
150
12 tayo.
Oo.
Inabot, dumaan kayo
Inabot
sa
kami ng
streaming.
hanggang madaling araw.
Hindi
Tapos
lang
may
yata,
10.
alas 3
Siyempre may
yata.
10 na nag-emerge. At
Oo, at saka,
May
At
10
saka
na lang ibabaw.
At saka nag-focus talaga tayo dun sa mga content nila. Sabihin natin na hindi lang basta dun sa delivery, hindi sa presentation,
Oo.
kundi dun din sa content nila talaga.
yung
Kung
message.
Kasi diba
relevant
spoken
doon.
word?
Oo.
Oo.
Spoken word poetry, parang ang tingin ng ang kadalasan talaga is performance. Pero syempre, ayaw namin magbigay sa inyo, maglabas sa inyo ng, syempre, gusto namin yung mga nangingibabaw din sa pagsulat ng mga piyesa nila. Kasi alam mo yung mensahe nila malinaw, ganyan.
Nararamdaman mo talaga, di ba?
Oo.
Ang
Na hindi
gaganda, ang
apektado
gaganda
yung
talaga.
Yes, exciting. Abangan mo, Jel.
Oo.
Napakarami.
Princess, masali rin yan. Sayang hindi siya nakasama sa spoken word poetry.
Bago tayo mag-end, Jel, baka may gusto kang i-plug, mga mga connections mo and mga affiliations mo,
May
ganyan.
page ka.
Anong page ko ngayon? Wala eh.
Siya lang yan, the Jel
Twitter.
Santos.
Twitter account.
Follow niyo na lang siya sa
Follow-
Instagram.
Follow mo nga ako, te, at I am Jel Santos.
Anong Instagram mo?
Grabe, naka-zoom naman
I-post
ako.
natin. Anong Instagram mo? Yung username mo?
Hindi ko na maalala yung Insta ko.
Hindi mo na ba ginagamit?
Hindi nga ako nagpo-post dun eh.
Nagla-like
Oo,
ka lang?
Madami.
Hindi, hanapin nyo na lang siya sa Twitter. Para lagi kayong
Oo, follow
updated.
niya siya.
Sa MMDA ka ngayon naka-assign, tama ba? Tama ba? Jel?
MMDA.
So, pag
Makati.
ma-traffic, tweet
Oo,
nyo
alam
siya.
mo, baka pag nahuli.
Hindi
Baka
MMDA.
pag nahuli sila,
pinilit
magpatulong
ikaw.
sila kay Jel.
Wag naman huli.
Natikit.
Kayo guys, anything that you want to promote? Princess?
Promote mo yung
Baka may gustong
Inog.
i-promote. Baka may vlog.
Oo, baka may
Yes
vlog
po,
ka.
like and follow our page po, The Innovator. And yun po, you can follow them also on Twitter and sa Instagram po.
Active din ng The Innovator ha. Nakikita ko nagkakaroon din sila ng live sessions. Parang mga trainings din. Last time about lettering.
Calligraphy.
Yung pag
Last time
Oo,
calligraphy.
yan,
Tapos meron din silang challenges ngayon. Tama ba? May, nung nakaraan about photography eh. May team silang binibigay, tas open to anyone, kahit hindi taga-FES. So, i-follow nyo rin yung
parang
page
mga
nila.
photo essay, ganyan.
Oo, marami silang mga pa-challenge. Meron din ba sa
Wow.
writing? Baka may upcoming challenge din sila dyan. So, i-like nyo rin yung page nila. Saka isa rin sila sa partners natin ngayon.
Yes. Thank you so much for being with us tonight and for watching our Now Talks episode for tonight. And again, next week we have the spoken word poetry contest at exactly 7 p.m. So, hopefully makapag-perform lahat ng 10 contestants natin, 10 initial winners natin para marinig nyo naman at maramdaman nyo live yung performance nila at yung mga damdamin nila, 'di ba? Kasi this is in celebration for the buwan ng wika. So, 'yon. Thank you so much and have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Nood
Bye.
kayo.
Bye.
Thank you
Exciting
po.
yun. Thank you,
Thank you,
Jel. Thank you,
Jel.
Princess.
Thank you, Princess and Jel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you po. Thank you so much.